now you get a memory of this day. Okay, so you're really nice, okay? You are an awesome volunteer. Yes, she is. She really is. You are a brave person. Well, you have to be if you volunteer to come up here and write down stuff on others' back. Okay, you express optimism was one of the things written down. You're quite cute. Lovely. Why didn't I participate in it? You're full of positive energy. Pardon? You've got a beautiful smile. You're wonderful. You are my best friend and I like being with you. You're a good teammate. You're really good at this. You just keep going. And as you can see, it creates kind of positive buzz when the students go around and they want to see what's written on your back, what's written on my back. You're a true friend. You're a wonderful friend. What do we have? You inspire children. As the sun shines the day. These are lovely. You inspire me with your love for teaching. Nice hair. You make me laugh. And the idea in the classroom is that each student writes for every paper, so that if there are 24 students, you will write down 23 papers, so that you say something nice about each of your classmates. Yeah, it takes quite a long time, but it's worth it. Okay, thank you so much for our volunteers. Okay, so in the classroom, after we've done this exercise, we try to calm down the students so that they will sit down and be quiet and ready for the conversation after they've been moving around the classroom. And the question for the students is, why is it important to give positive feedback? So this is what we will talk about. And again, the teacher will have leading questions so that they can take the conversation forward. And also the other side, that if you have classmates that you don't like that much and you still need to write something positive about them, so can you do it? And the teacher can give helpful advice on practical things that you could write down for each other, so that you could find the one thing in each of your classmates. So the next thing to discuss is why are we willing to give up our language lessons, for instance, 5 times a year to have a KiVa lesson instead? Because we do that every year, and you all know that there are some festivities and exceptional schedules and everything that you lose your lessons, so usually teachers don't want to give out their lessons. But we have specific goals for KiVa lessons, and we feel that they are really important. So that's why we have them every year. So, one of the goals is to raise the students' awareness of bullying, so that they know what we are talking about when we say bullying, so that they can recognize it. And the next thing is to encourage them to talk about bullying. If they are being bullied, that they would come forward with it and they would take the matter to the adults in the school. And the same thing, that if they see that someone else is being bullied, that they would talk about it out loud. We feel that if we can promote class unity, if the students feel like this is a good class to be in, I can be myself in this class and I trust the other members of this group, that will reduce and prevent bullying. And also, KiVa lessons are planned so that they would enhance students' social emotional skills, so that they would be better able to function in a group, and they would help each other and be empathetic towards each other. Okay, now we are moving on to the second part of KiVa school program, which is the intervention part. So what happens when a bullying case emerges? So these actions include only the children or the teenagers who have been bullied or who have bullied others. And one of the things that we also do is that we try to find classmates that could help the victim of bullying, and usually this is done by the form teacher and not the KiVa team. So the form teacher will try and identify which one of the students could help the victim and could stay by his or her side. And the aim of these actions, of course, is to end the bullying. So, in practice, when a bullying case emerges in our school, the first adult who gets the information will write it down. So, for instance, if I get a message from a parent saying that my daughter Anna is being bullied, then my job is to go and get KiVa form number 1 and write down all the things that I've heard. And this can be any adult in our school, so it can be the school nurse, it can be one of the teachers, it can be a school assistant, whoever. But if we hear about bullying, we need to write it down in a formal KiVa form number 1. And this is the actual form, and once you have filled it in, you take it to the KiVa team. And we in KiVa team will go through the form, and we need to decide if these events count as bullying. Because sometimes it can be unclear for parents, for students, even for the teachers, if it's a case of bullying, or if it's a fight, or a misunderstanding, or an argument. Because not every argument or fight in a school counts as bullying. We have a specific definition of what counts as bullying. So when it's something that happens repeatedly against one person and it's harmful to that person, then it counts as bullying. So a separate incident of a fight between two students isn't bullying. If we in the KiVa team see that this is actually a case of bullying, then we will take action. But if we think that no, this is a misunderstanding, or this is just a minor argument, disagreement between two students, then it's the form teacher who will handle it, because he or she will know the students best, and it will be better for them to go through it than to take the actual KiVa team involved. Okay, when we begin tackling a bullying case, there's always 2 KiVa teachers involved. And one of my colleagues just told in a teachers gathering that this is an exceptional way of being in contact with your students, because there's only one student and 2 teachers. We are used to the fact that there's 1 teacher and 24 or so students, but this is something else. This is something totally different. It's sometimes it's really good to have this situation where there are 2 adults talking to 1 student. So the first thing that we do is to find the victim, talk with him or her, and write down everything. So we will write down description of the events, what has happened, names of the people who have bullied him or her, and also names of the pupils who could support the victim, if the victim can name somebody. If they can't, then we will ask the form teacher to help us with this. And after talking to the victim, we will find the perpetrators and talk with them individually. So if there's like 3 people bullying 1 student, we will try to find those 3 students during the same day and talk with them individually so that they wouldn't know what the other person said. So there's a surprise effect for the perpetrators. And the actual conversation that we have with them, we will write that down as well. But the main thing in the conversation is that we are not trying to find out what happened, because we already know what happened. We are there to say that we know what has happened and what you have done, and now it needs to stop. And the goal for the conversation is that the perpetrator will understand that, okay, I've done something wrong and I have hurt someone's feelings. So that if there was a girl called Anna who doesn't want to come to school because she's feeling sad because the others are bullying her day after day, we need to tell that to the people who are bullying her. We need to make sure that they understand that you are hurting someone. And we try to raise a mutual concern for the victim so that we come to the conclusion that we all want this school to be a place where it's nice to come here, so that all the people who come here every day, they like to be here and it's nice for them to be here. It's not difficult or depressing or scary to come to the school. And when we write down the things on KiVa forms, we also write down a promise from each perpetrator. So you heard Tim talk about responsibility, that in Finnish schools the students have a lot of responsibility. The same goes here. The responsibility is on the students. They have to do something differently so that the situation will become better. So the perpetrators will make a promise, 1 step that they are going to take so that the situation will improve. Also, the victim makes a promise, because it's never black and white. So the victim also tries to reflect on his or her own behavior, if there's something that he or she could do differently in the future. Then there's a waiting period for 1 or 2 weeks, and after that we have a follow-up meeting. First we talk with the victim to see if things have gone for the better, if the situation is better, and then we will talk with the perpetrators to see if they have kept their promise. And of course during the waiting period we will keep a close eye on the victim and on the perpetrators as well. And this time we will use forms 5 and 6 to write down everything. In case you're wondering what happened to number 4, there's a KiVa form number 4 as well. It's used when you have all the perpetrators together in a group conversation and you write down all the information from that, but we don't use that in my school at all. We only use the separate conversations with each perpetrator. And the last part, the monitoring part, there's constant monitoring of the KiVa program so that we know into which direction we're going in our school. So what kind of changes are taking place. And this part is done online, so we fill in the questionnaires and we get feedback, and we can use that feedback to work forward, and also we can use it, for instance, when the parents want to know what's the situation in this school, then we can show the results that we gather from the KiVa online tools. So we get annual feedback. All the schools that participate in KiVa program get annual feedback so that we know which way we're headed. So, then the sad part, what if this doesn't work? If we have all the conversations and it doesn't work? As I said, the responsibility is on the students. They have to handle the situation, which means that initially when we have the conversations, we will inform the parents, just saying that, okay, your child has been talking with the KiVa team, and these are the 2 members of the KiVa team that were handling this situation, so if you want to know more, you can either ask your child or you can contact us. But we don't give any punishments for it. But if the situation doesn't get better, then we can contact the parents as well and see if that helps. If it doesn't, then there's the usual school sanctions that can be used, which we don't normally have to use at all, but we can assign detention, for instance, for a student if they've been bullying somebody and they don't learn a lesson. Or some years ago, we actually had to leave one kid behind from a field trip as a punishment for bullying. But the normal program, it doesn't use punishment at all. It's based on conversation and realizing the meaning of your actions and what you do to another person. And then in the worst case scenario, if the bullying has been really severe, it's lasted for a long time, or it has involved violence, then we can actually contact the police. So it's also a crime if you hit someone at school, so we can also involve the police in this. Last school year we had 21 cases that we handled with our KiVa team, and we were able to help all the victims. Some of the cases weren't actual bullying, they were more of a disagreement or misunderstanding, but we handled 21 cases, the eight KiVa teachers that we have. I've worked with this program for maybe 8 years, and it's been really rewarding because I can be in contact with my students in a whole other level, and also I can see sides of the students that I don't get to see in everyday work. And I'm always happy to see that it works. It's such a simple procedure, but it works amazingly well and in a positive way. It's easy to use, and it's like a backbone to our work that we can use. If you want to find out more about KiVa School program, you can find it online. And thank you for your interest on the subject.
Hi, thank you very much for sharing this with us. I'd like to ask you if this program is nationally developed, or because in my previous school in Singapore, we created our own anti-bullying syllabus. So like for 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and so on.
This is for the whole comprehensive school.
Okay.
But not all schools in Finland take part in this.
Okay, so it's not a compulsory program?
No, it's not.
Okay. Okay, and do you adjust it according to the school? Because I presume you've got different nationalities or different backgrounds in your school, or it's it works the same for...
It works pretty much the same.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thanks very much.
Thank you. Yes. I don't actually have any statistics, so you need to find that information elsewhere, but it isn't anything alarming, I would say. And according to the results that I've seen, it's gone down with KiVa program, like steadily going down. Joe? Just in the schools.
So if there's bullying on the street, someplace away from the school, you don't know about it?
No. We have strict regulations about what to handle and what to not, and it's only the things that happen in school.
So you don't have problems on the street that come back into the school?
Then we handle it. If
Okay.
it comes back to the school, if it affects learning and if it affects the students at school, then we will handle it.
Is the guidebook available in English or online?
It is available, but you would have to contact the University of Turku, the actual official KiVa program, because they have official channels where they import to new countries. So it's always a nationwide decision to join in KiVa program. And as I said, I'm not part of the actual program, I'm just using it at school.
When you have the discussion with the students, the parents are not involved at the first time.
No, not at all.
And you are allowed to do this?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And what it means detention?
Pardon?
Detention, what for students?
So you have to stay after school, sit and stare at a wall for 45 minutes.
In school. Okay, thank you.
How are kids with disabilities treated in this program?
Disabilities?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Autism, things like this.
We don't have anything separate for disabilities. We use the same format all the time.
In a society where students are a bit reckless, would you say this program is more efficient than actual school sanctions, and why?
Yes, I would say that it's more effective because it's more positive as well, and there's reflection, so that you actually have to do reflection on I've done something wrong and I've caused this other person to, for instance, stay at home, not come to school. And it usually works. There are many cases where the bully hasn't even realized that they've been bullying someone.
Thank you so much, Terhi. So now we're ready for